Hi everyone, this is Tanya Gibbs from Psycho Mom Scrapbooks and More, and today I want to share with you these little flowers I've been making out of my scraps. They are all, believe it or not, they were all this cut from this, and all it is a scallop punch, and you can use any diameter you like. Of course, the bigger the diameter, the wider the flower is, and as you can tell, these are not very big. They're only about 1.25 inches wide. Anyway, these are all made from cardstock, and there's plenty of tutorials on there on exactly how to make it, and I'll kind of briefly go through it. But this one is actually made from coffee filters, and I got this idea because I've been spraying a lot of things with this glimmer mist that I've been making. I've been making glimmer mist type thing for quite a while before even glimmer mist was invented, the product from Tattered Angels. But all I do is I take iridescent medium or an iridescent ink and mix it in water with whatever color dye that I want to use. And most often I'm using the Adirondack color washes, or I'll use airbrush ink. And those inks tend to be very concentrated, so just a couple of little drops in some water with the iridescent medium usually will yield a really nice product. But this particular one that I used, I made, you know, it was a couple of drops of this along with some water, and it yielded this soft pink color flower. And that's what I like about this, is you can make them as soft or as concentrated as you want just by adding extra into the thing. You can also make them iridescent by using Pearl-Ex powder. I haven't tried that yet, but I've heard a lot of people be very successful with it. But as I was making these flowers, this was the one that I made first, and I used this ink, which is called Shimmer Mist. I just got this a few weeks ago, and it actually puts an iridescent color to the flower rather than glitter. It doesn't have glitter on it, and the iridescent is actually mica chips. So it's mica is like a glass or something like that. So it's a really fine mica chip. So I don't know if you can see in the video or not, there's lots of shine here, but it's not glitter shine, it's iridescent, which I really like the subtleness of the shine on these. They're very sparkly, but they're not, it's a very subtle sparkle. But the thing I wanted to share with you today is, as I was making this, I always take my, I always glimmer mist things in these little, or I call it that, that's the verb, I guess now. Glimmer mist has become a verb instead of a brand. But anyway, I always use one of these little Glad storage containers for the kitchen, and I put a coffee filter down inside of it, and that way, when it becomes a mess, I can just trash it and get rid of it. But today, as I was playing with this, I realized how much I really like the look. Actually, let's use this one. I really like the look that I was getting on the filter itself. And after it dries, this is what it looks like. And if you look where it's layered with two different colors, like I used a gold and then I used a pink on top of it. And once it dries, it's really, I just love the color. And I hate to throw these away because they're just so colorful. So I came up with this idea today to take it, fold it in half, and make these same little flowers out of it. And it'll be about the thickness of a carnation. I mean, a thickness of tissue paper, but if you see, there's a lot of sparkle and shine on that. So this is basically what I come up with. This is one that I made. This one's not quite dry yet, but as you can see the detail and the sparkle on this thing. I hate to throw this away. Look at all these colors that it made. Anyway, and they're all just a little bit different because there's just layers of them, and as they dry out, they become this. And of course, you could take your heating tool and dry them faster if you wanted to. And they have to be dry in order to die cut them because they're just so thin that they will break and crumble all over the place. But on here, I decided to make these flowers. I would use these instead. So just to kind of give you an idea of how it works, I'm just going to come in here and punch this. You could also run this through your die cutting system. The Tattered Rose Sizzix die cut from Tim Holtz would be really beautiful with this. I think this would make, this pink color would make just the prettiest little soft pink ever. I mean, and by folding this in half, I'm getting 2 cuts at one time. But look at the variance in the colors. So it's just going to add so much depth and dimension to these flowers. You're going to do this with, normally the recipe calls for about 8 of these punches whenever it's a cardstock. And I think if it were me, I would do 8 doubled. And then that way you get, that's just not wanting to go in there. It's too crinkly or something. You want to make sure you get it all the way to the edge of the punch. There you go. But look at that color. Look at how soft and dainty looking it is. Really like this. Anyway, once you punch out as many of them as you want, and out of that one I've got 6 petals so far out of that one. I don't know if I can get another one. I'm sounding a little froggy today because I've gotten a little chest cold. I could probably get one more out of that, but it's very hard to get it. And it's okay if your punch doesn't go all the way to the end, because it just gives that flower that ripped look. But that's not going to work. I just hate throwing these away because they're just so beautiful. And I love how this one still has some of the white in it. So you still see some of the white of the coffee filter, but they're so fine. I love it. It's so much fun. Pull this down. Oh, I really want that shiny pink. See how shiny that is? I hope it shows up in the video. It also helps if you just keep sliding this around instead of trying to pull it out, because those little edges just get caught up in the side of that punch. Anyway, once you have all of the ones that you want, I think I have about 12 now, so I'm going to stop there just to sake of saving time with the video. All you do, and there's plenty of videos out there on how to do this. Now, since I'm using the coffee filters, the videos that I've seen, you wet the cardstock, which is where the glimmer misty thing came from, because if I've got to wet it, I might as well glimmer mist it, and then you wad it all up into little balls. But because this is coffee filters and they're very fragile, I'm not going to do all of that. I don't go through that step because it's not necessary with these. But what I've done is I have my little paper piercer here, and I'm going to punch a hole right into the center of this flower with the paper piercer. And it goes through pretty quick, or pretty easy. And then I'm just going to take a brad. The smaller the brad, the less you'll see it. And I just have these little cheap Office Depot brads. Now, here's the trick to this flower, because you could leave it alone at this, truly. I mean, it's really cute, especially if you use a decorative brad or maybe a rhinestone brad or something and you wanted to keep that. But all you do is you take it now and you crumple it up. And bring up each petal and crumple it. Because it's a coffee filter, it's super pliable. So, it stays crunchy and it still holds its shape, and you don't have to worry about the water and all of that. And you just keep crimping it, fluffing it. You can even take it and wad it up in your hand and then pull those out. And see, look at what you have. It's just a magical little flower. And I love the variant in color on the petals. between, you know, like from where it got sprayed randomly with the Glimmer Mist. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but to me, it adds so much depth and dimension to the flower, and it's so much like nature where you know, it starts to die, so it takes on a different color than it does when it first buds out. But see how beautiful that little blossom is? And then here's one that was made from a piece that looked like this color. So this is the green and the, you know, the yellows and the greens, and this is the pink and the yellows. And see how the little hint of white, I just love these, love them. I'm going to make a rose next, I think. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Give me some feedback. Thanks.